Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys, based on the time zones you all are coming from. So, guys, before we start with the session, can you all please give me a quick information if you all can see my screen and hear me loud and clear as well? Great. Thank you for confirming. My name is Neeraj Kedia, and I have been working in this IT industry for more than 13 years now. So before we get started, let me quickly introduce our Edureka Masterclass community with you all. So this community of masterclasses was started back in 2019, and since then we have been closing into almost 32,000 members so far. So in these webinars, in this community, we have been covering multiple webinars and live events on different topics, including blockchain, IoT, artificial intelligence, machine learning on multiple front-end and back-end development frameworks, including PMP and ITIL. So the best part about these webinars are they are absolutely free of cost, and there are no charges involved here. And these webinars are a really great platform for anyone who is looking to get into this industry vertical for improving their knowledge on those specific tools. So to be a part of this group, go ahead and click on join this group, and you can also share this with your friends and family members. Now we are going to focus on the topic that we are going to discuss. So today we are going to focus mainly on the data security and protection. So we are going to first of all discuss on what exactly cybersecurity is and cyber attacks in past 10 years, the top 8 cyber attacks, data security and data protection, and ways to protect data. And then we are going to discuss on the top security tools, top remote security for risk for business as well. So again, we are going to discuss on these different parameters as we proceed further. So first of all, if we talk about cybersecurity itself, now again, cybersecurity is one of the integral components of any solution because we have to, as long as although we want the application to perform exactly the way we want, but again, at the same time, we also want the application to be secured as well, correct? So cybersecurity is what? So in terms of the definition, cybersecurity is the body of technologies, processes, and practices designed to protect networks, computers, programs, and data from attack, damage, or unauthorized access. All right. So the term cybersecurity refers to techniques and practices designed to protect digital data that is stored, transmitted, or used on an information system. And after all, that is what criminal wants. It's data, right? So the network servers, and computers are just mechanisms to get the data. And effective cybersecurity reduces the risk of cyber attacks, and it simply protects the organizations and individuals from the unauthorized exploitation of systems, networks, and technologies. So robust cybersecurity implementation is roughly based around three key terms: people, processes, and technologies. So now the three-pronged approach that helps organizations defend themselves from both highly organized attacks and common internal threats such as accidental breaches and human errors as well. All right, and the attacks evolve every day as attackers become more inventive. It is critical to properly define cybersecurity and understand the cybersecurity fundamentals as well. And we know why exactly we need it. Why exactly do we need it? Because see, with each passing time, we hear the sheer volume of threats is increasing rapidly, right? And according to the report, again, so basically it costs the company somewhere around $400 billion, right? And cyber attacks can be extremely expensive for the businesses to endure. In addition to financial damage suffered by the businesses, data breach can also inflict untold reputational damage as well, correct? And that's increasing the reputational cost. And cyber attacks these days are becoming progressively destructive. So cyber criminals are using more sophisticated ways to initiate cyber attacks. And regulations such as GDPR are forcing organizations into taking better care of personal data they hold. And because of these and the other reasons, cybersecurity has become an important part of the business, and focus now is on developing appropriate response plans that minimize the damage in the event of a cyber attack. But an organization or an individual can develop a proper response plan only when he has a good grip on cybersecurity fundamentals. All right, and again, there are multiple components here, like we have CIA tried as well that we can think of. That's why exactly we need to have a cybersecurity model defined. Now, where exactly the cyber attacks come from? So we know 48% of the malicious email attachments are office files, whereas 34% of data breaches involve the internal actors. That means again, they involve inside men. And then 94% of malware was delivered by mail, whereas 65% of groups use the spear phishing as the primary infection vector. Now, let's talk about the top cyber security attacks that we have. So now here we have different type of attacks that they are. First of all, we have the malware, we have phishing, we have the password attacks, we have DDoS, which refers to denial of service, and then we have man in the middle. Then we have drive-by download, malvertising, rogue software. So again, these all are different tools available out there for again different methods of the attacks as well. Especially again, and these are now again there are hundreds of other attacks, but again, these are the most popular ones, or you can say the most infamous ones. So let's discuss on these one by one. Now, first of all, we can start with a simple malware. So again, here we have malware, which is basically used for making sure that, again, it simply rests in the system without getting detected. Phishing is simply creating a fixtures page. For example, the internet banking login page or any specific account login page that simply mimics the actual page, and then users can think, okay, that this is the genuine page, and they simply end up entering the entire credentials, which will be sent to the users. Then we have password attacks. Again, like we have brute force attacks, where the users are, with attackers, they simply try to guess the password by performing multiple permutations and combinations. And then we have DDoS. So DDoS refers to distributed denial of service. So which is basically now whenever the users, or we can say the attackers, whenever the attackers they are unable to get the access to any server, then they simply bombard the servers with additional requests. And then we have man in the middle. So again, when the data is being no, we can say sent from one point to the other. So again, the attackers, they can simply get the access to the file, and they can simply manipulate the file in between, right? That is what we refer as man in the middle attack. So what exactly it does is simply ensures that a file, although the file may be encrypted, but the attackers, they may get the access to file in between. And they may simply compromise the security file if the file has not been secured by using a strong algorithm. That's how it works. And then we had drive-by download. So people just simply search for the free hacks or the free softwares again, then they end up downloading the viruses along with the free versions. And that is what is being compromised in terms of drive-by downloads. And then we have malvertising, where we get multiple phishing or we can say false ads being thrown to them. And then we have rogue softwares, which again, it is already full of bugs. So basically here, let's say we have all the cracks, all the cheats, again, they're already filled with multiple bugs. And that's why they simply take over the entire system, and that too with ease. So now we are going to discuss on data protection and data security. Now, data protection is known as data privacy. And data protection is the process of protecting data from loss, corruption, or from any specific attack. Whereas if we talk about data security, so data security is to ensure privacy. And data security means protecting data from unauthorized modification, access, and or distribution as well. Then now there are different ways to protect the data while working remotely. So we know that now in terms of the protection here, we have to first of all ensure that our system should have a good antivirus or anti-malware and firewall structured. And then we should have a secure internet connection. That means again, where the possibility of any unauthorized sources getting the access is going to be less. And then we have that now we should also enable the two-factor authentication. Now, authentication is basically of two different types. We have two-factor authentication, and then we have multi-factor authentication. So in under two-factor authentication, if someone knows our email address and password, then then they can simply get the access directly. But again, that is not secured. Like whereas in multi-factor authentication, even if someone has the access to the password or the username, still they cannot access the user account without having the access to a security device or security key. and that is how we secure the critical accounts and data sets. And then we have use password managers to ensure all the passwords are safe and again centrally managed. And then we have the encryption software so to ensure that whatever data we are going to store here, they should be highly encrypted. And then we have to establish a cybersecurity policy, a single policy that should be applicable to all the to all the resources being deployed. All right. So that's why there are multiple ways of protecting the data while working remotely as part of the secure network. And then there are multiple data security tool available here that we can make use of. So now we have different tools for different use cases. For example, now we have different tools for data loss protection. We have different tools for network access control as well. So first of all, here we have data loss protection tool, which is used to protect sensitive data of an organization from transmitting. So DLP tool is important as it is used to identify the threats and alerts the employees about sensitive data and how to block the transmission of those sensitive data. So again, it is going to ensure that no transmission, that means no copy or moving the files is going to be allowed. Then we have the tools such as the network access control. Now, network access control is not exactly a tool here. It is more like a complete, we can say, firewall policy that we can find. For example, when we set up our network in any other cloud platforms, for example, if we talk about AWS, there in AWS for each and every VPC, we also structure the NACL. NACL as in network access control list. That means which inbound rule is going to be allowed and which outbound rule is going to be denied. And that is something that is going to be applicable for all the subnets in that particular VPC, in that particular region, right? So again, NACL also ensure the security patches, antivirus softwares, and other controls on all devices are used within the organization based on the parameters, based on the rules that we are going to define. And then we have the intrusion prevention system that we refer as IPS. So IPS is basically an advanced technology which is deployed behind the organization's firewall to identify the traffic flows and to simply mitigate the threats by automatic action. And then we have other tools like we have the endpoint protection. So endpoint protection allows us to protect the endpoint against any kind of malware, virus, worms, and malicious activities. So basically, they are designed to detect, log, and analyze attacks that are given in the we can say that in the progress. And then now, if you want to see certain tools, first of all, we have tools like we have BlueVector. So here we have a tool called as BlueVector, which is basically used against any kind of, we can say, possible attacks here. So basically, it allows us to have an advanced detection and response system enabled. It has a deep machine learning capabilities, which enables us to get smarter over time. So basically, here it simply tweaks the network algorithms and detection engines in a way that makes most sense for the environment here. And so one tool is as a BlueVector tool being used by enterprises. Then we have another tool called as Brick Data. So these days, most basic cybersecurity defenses for any medium to large enterprises will include an intrusion prevention system. Even by itself, a well-tuned IPS or we can say IDS system that is constantly monitored by security teams will simply catch itself. Okay, or we can say it is simply going to catch the most network problems and security breaches. So where we can use it for advanced IPS, IDS protections, for the again for launching the threat hunts, and for making sure that any kind of network anomalies they are being resolved as a part of brick data, now known as data bricks. Now then we have the alert logic. So alert logic is also one of the obviously it is used now compared to traditional servers and client architectures. Cloud computing is a new again it has been more effective, right? And alert logic is basically designed to provide protection to web applications, critical data, and everything else running on store or it's running or stored in an organization cloud platform. So it's more like a cloud tool, not available as a local tool here. So here we have a simple cloud platforms being defined. So it allows the IT staff to inspect the cloud deployments to look for evidence of hidden threats or breaches. And above that, a 200-person cybersecurity team at Alert Logic can take over most cloud-based security functions in a software as a service model defined. All right. And one of the most popular and the quickest ways for attackers to enter the network these days is to trick the users into an action, whether installing malware or providing their login credentials. And if they pretended to be a company official, a business letter, or a business partner or a family friend, the chance of success skyrockets, right? And despite the danger, phishing poses, most organizations have little or no defense against them. So as an organization, we have a tool as PhishMe as well, which was the name of the company when it was released, has moved its focus away from pure education into threat remediation here. The company name has been changed to PhishMe to Cofense, which is a combination of collaborative and defense. And one of the most Cofense product is Strike, which is simply email, which is basically used for prevention of any emails having any kind of threats, especially to combat the phishing issues. So here we have a tool as Cofense. All right, so next we also have something called as Digital Guardian as well. Digital, we have Digital Guardian. So with most endpoint security programs, protection is delivered through the creation of rules, and behavior that breaks the rules of network is considered suspect, and is suspected, and again it is blocked and flagged, or otherwise it simply becomes the subject of security alerts. And one of the biggest problems with this method is that security is only as good as the rule set. And administrators either must carefully craft rules based on their own expertise or a set of protection program into the learning mode for several weeks or months while it discovers good network behavior and crafts rules restricting everything else. All right, so here we have something called as Digital Guardian here. So basically it comes with ready to use preloaded with thousands of best practices rules based on years of experience working in the field. And after a quick data discovery process, those rules are tailored to the specific network that is protecting, that it is protecting. And this is all done nearly instantly so that when the agents are deployed, they can immediately begin protecting endpoints with good security policies. Now, after this, we also have a tool called as Mantrix. So given the insidious nature of advanced threats, it's almost as suddenly that every organization of any size will eventually be hacked or compromised, regardless of what or how many cybersecurity defenses are put in place. In response, the somewhat new concept of threat hunting is becoming an increasingly important part of cybersecurity defenses. So here we have Mantrix 4 here, not Matrix 4 here. We have Mentix 4 that we have defined as a tool. So here we have Mentix 4. So here basically the Mentix 4 platform seeks to solve the people problem. And again here, it simply takes the threat hunting into the software as a service, and again simply provides that. And then for network analysis tool, we can make use of SigPy. So basically, it's used as a traffic analysis software that aims to eliminate two different problems here. First of all, the problem of volume processing of data for actionable threat intelligence, and then for reliance on network trapping hardware. So here is simply, now they deploy the analyzer as a software module capable of running on-premise or in the cloud, and it only looks at the log files. So there's no need for any network traps, agents, or clients or anything beyond access to the constantly generated log files. And it then crunches those billions of events in the logs using finely tuned algorithms that look for patterns associated with an ongoing attack or an advanced persistent threat that we refer as APT. All right, so these are different tools available here, and thank you so much for joining, guys, and have a great day ahead. Take care. Bye-bye.